Welcome back to the Goal2Go podcast, man. Episode 123, AFC, NFC Championships just concluded this past weekend. We're going to touch on those two games this weekend. Your Eagles getting a big dub, heading back to the Super Bowl. Going to hear a lot about that. And then we got a little special segment, man. We got hottest take, coldest take, biggest surprise, and most disappointing in the 2024 NFL season. So we're going to jump into it. Let's go ahead, cover these games. The first game up, man, was your Eagles versus the Commanders, and you weren't too confident heading into that game, but, I mean, you said it. Teams try to stop Saquon. They just can't, and that trend continued for NFC opponents in these playoffs and pretty much all season long. Saquon, huge day from him. Offense did its thing. Jalen Hurts got his credit from his head coach, Nick Sirianni, post-game. I do think he needed a little bit better fit in the post-game press conference, but Eagles forced some turnovers on the Commanders, and that Commanders defense was just they were simply outmatched and out-game planned, and from the top to the bottom, they were picked apart all game long. So I'm going to let you touch on it. I know you got a lot of comments about this one, but it's sort of my take.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it really came down to. On the defensive side of the ball, kind of feel like the Washington Commanders, playoff run finally caught up to them. Jaden Daniels, you got to give him all the respect, all the credit in the world, because he was not the reason they lost this game. It kind of felt like down the stretch, whenever Jaden Daniels had the ball, he was going to be able to make a play. And I think the Eagles did a good job capitalizing on, making plays and creating turnover opportunities when the ball wasn't in Jaden Daniels' hands, because all of the fumbles, all the big plays they made on special teams when the offense wasn't on the field, I think that played a really big part. Because for the most part, in the beginning of that game, Jaden Daniels was converting fourth downs, third and longs. He had a couple of nice runs with his legs. So, I mean, Jaden Daniels pretty much did all he could. It was people around him, players around him that, put the ball on the ground, special teams not playing good enough. So, I think when it comes to, you're in the NFC Championship game, you got to play a team game. Unfortunately, the defense and special teams weren't up to par with how good Jaden Daniels was playing. And then for the Eagles offensively, I think you saw a good complete game. I mean, I mentioned, Saquon Barkley in that run defense. You saw from the first play, Saquon goes 60 yards. You can have a whole podcast on just how good Saquon Barkley has been this season and all the records he's set to break, and, just how amazing he's been. But I definitely think this Eagles offense, it clearly starts through Saquon Barkley, and it just builds off of that. And we saw Jalen Hurts make some nice throws, make some nice reads in the past game. A.J. Brown got going. Devontae Smith with a couple nice catches, and Dallas Goedert in there as well. Going against the Kansas City Chiefs, you're definitely going to have to see even more improvements, I think, offensively in that passing game. There's some things you can get away with when you're playing against the Washington Commanders that, against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs in those big moments, they're just not going to allow. And I'm sure next week we'll get into the matchups and stuff a little bit more, so I won't go too in-depth. But, yeah, I just think the Eagles played really good team football, and unfortunately Jaden Daniels did all he could. It just wasn't enough to beat, a really solid team game plan like you mentioned against the Eagles.
Yeah, next one up was that AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Bills, man, and pretty much how we kind of expected it to go. I mean, tight game across all four quarters. Chiefs getting out in front with that 7-point lead early on, and then Bills coming back, and then the Chiefs just going right back down the field, able to get in the end zone. And, I mean, you saw an average game out of Patrick Mahomes, and once again it was enough for them to get the win fourth quarter. They had the ball. You need to get a stop if you're the Bills defense. Get the ball back in Josh Allen's hands, give him a chance. You let I think it was second down when it went to that play action, Pacheco in the flat, sort of a play action rollout, chip Pacheco in the flat, and Pacheco just outplaying, out physical, get the first down. He did get out of balance, so it gave the Bills still some life.
I think that was P. Ryan at the end of the game.
Well, it was Pacheco first, and then
Yeah.
and then it was 3rd and 9. No timeouts left for the Bills when the Chiefs elected to pass the ball, hit P. Ryan on that left flat this time, just straight up pass. And P. Ryan, who I know who hasn't touched the football all year because after Pacheco got hurt, that you see a little bit more of P. Ryan. He was sitting on my my bench spot, man, and he never got the rock. But biggest play of the game. What do the Chiefs do? They find the personnel that they know the Bills are not looking for. P. Ryan gets out on the flat, and he's just able to run for the first down. So it's sort of like when you go back to the Kadarius Toney touchdown, the McCole Hardman touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Like, no one's expecting them to get the ball. They haven't done anything all season. This and that, you're expecting them. You got D-Hop, you got Hollywood, you got Xavier Worthy on the outside, Travis Kelce on this big down. I mean, past games, it was Kelce on that 3rd down, or in that 13-second drive or whatever. It was Kelce with the seam route that got him that big play. And once again, Josh Allen, the Bills, they fall short, man. I know everyone's like Kincaid could have caught that ball where Josh Allen just threw up that prayer on that blitz that just wasn't picked up. And a free rusher did a good job just airing it out, 4th and long. I mean, best you could do. And Kincaid just sort of like Mark Andrews couldn't come down with it. Kincaid couldn't come down with it. And when you have to play the Chiefs, you have to be not nearly perfect. You have to play perfect. And one mistake, it cost you the game against Kansas City. You saw the black magic at work that game for sure.
Yeah, in terms of like how the total game played out and stuff, I think it was pretty much, if not very similar to the way, the Eagles and Commanders game with. Now I know the Chiefs didn't put up 55 points and we didn't see a big blowout, but I just kind of felt like once again the Chiefs were the better team and they played better team football. On defense, they stepped up. You mentioned the blitz on 4th down at the end of the game. Like, it's just something they haven't seen all game. Corner blitz, Spags is going to dial it up. And then especially offensively, you saw a lot of people step up. Juju got involved. You mentioned Worthy. He's been really hot down the stretch. P. Ryan, Pacheco, all these guys, Kareem Hunt, get into the end zone. Like, just everyone stepping up around Patrick Mahomes, kind of similar to the way the Eagles did around Jalen Hurts. And then on the Bills side of the ball, like, defensively, they just weren't good enough in the big moments. And then on offense, if they weren't running it with James Cook, it just kind of felt like it was all on Josh Allen. And, those short yardage situations, you kind of just knew exactly what they were going to, like a QB sneak. You knew they were going to run the sneak the entire game. The Chiefs know they're going to run the sneak. So, I mean, at a certain point, like, they're going to figure out a way to stop it. So I just think they were a little too much Josh Allen reliant. Like, I know he just lost Stephon Diggs and all this stuff, and it's like, oh, he had weapons, he couldn't win it. Now he doesn't have weapons, and he still can't win the big game. But yeah, when you're going up against a team like the Chiefs, and they have guys that may not be as good, but they're contributing on all levels, I think you kind of need to at least meet that in the total team-wise. Whereas even if you look at the coaching staff, like Andy Reid, we all know how great he is. Spags, we know how good he is, like calling defensive plays. So, I mean, coaching just didn't seem like it was on par. Didn't seem like they had, another level, another gear to go to when it mattered the most here down the stretch. And I think you needed to see more from those guys step up around Josh Allen. You mentioned Kincaid with the drop. Like, yeah, that's a tough catch on 4th down, 4th and got to have it. But if that flip the script and that's Patrick Mahomes throwing it up to Travis Kelce, like, do you have any doubt in your mind that he comes down with that pass? Like, no, you definitely think he catches it. So a lot of the guys stepped up on the Chiefs, and I just think Josh Allen, it's a team sport, man. So I definitely think going into this offseason or whatever, the Bills definitely got to look to bolster up that defense and give Josh Allen more help.
All right, man. That's going to wrap up our AFC, NFC preview. Obviously, next week, Super Bowl talk across the board. We're going to jump into our season, not awards, but it's going to be
end of season awards, Goal2Go season awards.
Yeah, hottest take, coldest take, biggest surprise, most disappointing. Why don't you go ahead, kick it off with the hottest take here?
All right, the hottest take. This is definitely our favorite award out of everything
I think
because
so
it's,
too.
we've been talking about this all season. We've been the most right about this one. Our hottest take has definitely been the rookie of the year picks, and I'll start it off giving credit to you with the Jared Verse pick coming here when we did, the preview show. We do the pick your awards preseason, and that's, before any of the games even start, before, end of the preseason, middle of preseason, and got to give you credit, man. You picked Jared Verse. You saw a way for him to carve out a role to, not only have a role that's impactful, but kind of, put himself on the major stage. We went through it last week when we gave out the season award. It was just kind of like a foreshadowing, but Jared Verse and that Rams defensive front, you saw especially in the playoffs against the Eagles 2 weeks ago, even though they lost, Jared Verse and that front stepped up in the run game, pass rushing, getting after the quarterback, was top of the league in pressures. Didn't have the sack numbers, but we talked about, you want to have the pressures, you want to get after it. And in terms of impact and how good he was for that Rams defense that, kind of came alive during the final stretch of the year, Jared Verse, towards the middle of the year, towards the end of the season, it was a lock. Like, it wasn't even close. So you got to give credit to you for that. And then on the flip side, me picking Jaden Daniels, that's another one of those awards where, picking a player where he pretty much just ran away with it. So Jaden Daniels, I want to say, not even arguably, I think it's the best rookie quarterback season we've seen of all time so far. Like, taking this Washington Commanders team to the conference championship game and having a good performance in that conference championship game and not being the reason you lost. I think Jaden Daniels has a very, very bright future. You give him some more options on defense, give him another weapon besides Terry McLaurin, protect him up. This Washington team has a very bright future, and it's because of how good Jaden Daniels has been so earlier on. I mean, I'm not going to go through all the stats and stuff. We did that last week, but yeah, our hottest take of the season is no doubt the rookie of the year picks, with mine being Jaden Daniels and yours being Jared Verse. Also, I don't know if you know this, but I know Jaden Daniels was not the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Was Jared Verse the favorite when you picked him, like in the beginning of the season?
Well,
or was it someone else?
it was their offensive and defensive, so they wouldn't
Rookie of
want
the,
the best odds for their. It was probably Caleb Williams, I think.
Well, no, I know for the offense it was Caleb Williams. I'm saying Jaden Daniels for defense. Yeah, I don't know if Verse was favored.
There was some DBs off the board. Who else?
Trying to think. I know Dallas Turner, my pick, went before him.
Yeah, I think Dallas Turner was up there.
Might have been above him. I don't think any of the DBs really were. Like Quinyon Mitchell, stuff like that. I don't think they were. Terrion Arnold.
Not exactly sure, but
I mean, either way, it's still like it's a pretty good pick. Like from the preseason, it's like we haven't seen one snap of football yet, and you made the pick. But no, I know for sure Jaden Daniels was, I believe, the second favorite, and that's just quarterbacks going off of kind of like order. But yeah, but Caleb Williams was like a heavy favorite to start the year.
Yeah. Do you know the last rookie quarterback to head to a conference championship?
Was it Mark Sanchez?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the Jets, was that the butt fumble game?
I don't think it was the
no, but I think it was
butt fumble. Was
that was later on. Yeah. But I know.
Do you know the other rookie?
I'm not saying him cheating, but like, I mean, people have talked about this the last couple of weeks just because of how like rare it is with Jaden Daniels. Was it Big Ben?
Yeah. It was Big Ben.
Yeah, like that's been going around a little bit. So I mean, I don't think I would have known that off the top of my head, but I've heard it the past couple of weeks. Talking about rookie seasons, yeah.
What is it? Coldest take. Is my pick. Preseason, I had the Cleveland Browns going 11-6 and winning the AFC North. Obviously, they finished dead last and are picking second overall in the draft. So, I actually went back to my preseason notes just to let you know how bad it was. Deshaun Watson proves the doubters wrong. It's never been a worse take in my life. Had concerns about health on both sides of the ball. That was my concern. Defense could be elite. They were far from elite this year. Receivers are deep. We saw that with Jerry Jeudy. He balled out this year, but Amari Cooper shipped off in the middle of the season. JOK, he got hurt during the year. Can't really, if healthy, the best DB room in the NFL, and Martin Emerson and I almost say Greedy Williams. He, by the way, is out the NFL and he's got signed to an XFL team. Greg Newsome, they were burnt toast all year long. Front four, I said the best in the league. They were probably the only bright spot on that defense all year long. So, other than Denzel Ward, I mean, I just don't know how it could be worse than that. A team that was a playoff team without Nick Chubb, without a starting quarterback, Joe Flacco, coming off the couch and leading them when they were winning games against the Niners last year with P.J. Walker. They were winning games. I think DTR won a game last year, like, without throwing a touchdown, whatever it was. Regardless, to win that many games is a total demoralizing flip for a franchise. And sure, we'll talk about the Browns when we talk about offseason and what they're going to do. But, yeah, man, for a team that made the playoffs 2 of the last 5 years and to be picking second in the NFL draft this year is really a head-scratcher that you kind of wonder, is it just Cleveland cursed or what? Biggest...
Nothing more you want to elaborate on with the Brown season? Nothing else you want to go more in-depth on how disappointing and just terrible and horrible and bad that season was?
No, I think I'm good.
That's it? Okay, all right. Just checking.
Yeah, I mean, what else? Not much to say, man. There's a lot to say, but I said it all. I don't know what else you want from me. Just rub it in, like...
No, I'm just asking a question, doing my due diligence.
Yeah. Biggest surprise, man.
Biggest surprise from this season. This one was an interesting one. There was some picks we could have gone with, but I think me and you both kind of agreed on. Once again, sticking with the rookies, it's the rookie quarterbacks and how well they performed this season. You know, usually with the typical rookie quarterback class, we see like one rookie quarterback look, promising, and then maybe there's a couple that don't look as good, and then a bunch that we probably just don't even see or they become backups. But with this rookie quarterback class, there was in the first round, there was only one that we didn't get to see due to injury, and everyone else at least showed some kind of flash or some promise. You look at the first pick with Caleb Williams. Yeah, it was a bumpy road, but he led that Bears team to 8 wins. He showed some flashes. We saw some of the creativity he had. A lot of questions around him, but you definitely see that there's talent there. Ben Johnson comes in. Chicago Bears seem to have a bright future there on offense. Definitely not giving up on Caleb Williams yet. Jaden Daniels with the number 2 pick to the Commanders. We all know what that story looks like at this point. Best rookie season of all time. Jaden Daniels has been an absolute game changer for that team. Drake May going to the Patriots after that. Drake May had a solid rookie season coming in after Jacoby Brissett started. His rookie season was so good. Everyone was talking about that Patriots job seemed to be the number 1 job after they fired Gerard Mayo, just because of the talent and the flashes Drake May has showed with absolutely nothing around him on offense. So the ceiling is definitely looking up for Drake May. And then you look at some of the other guys down the board. You look at Bo Nix, who had a really, really solid rookie season with Sean Payton, led that Broncos team to the playoffs. And then down the stretch down there in Atlanta, Michael Penix took over for Kirk Cousins. And that Atlanta offense kind of looked like what everyone thought it would, going into this season. Whereas Michael Penix, he pretty much got Drake London involved, Bijan Robinson, like all these guys, like the offense just looked better. He was able to actually drive the ball down the field instead of Kirk Cousins floating the ball down the field. And the offense just looks so much better. So only real question is J.J. McCarthy, and he looked solid in the preseason. We just haven't seen him play yet due to injury. And if he's fully healthy, based on the way we saw Sam Darnold finish that season, I'm sure we'll see him sooner rather than later. But, yeah, it's definitely surprising to see this many rookie quarterbacks come in and look this good this soon. Also, you want to give a shout-out to 5'6" Joe
Oh yeah,
Milton,
Shake
man.
Milton, man.
Looked pretty good in that final game for the Patriots as well. So another name you can just throw in there for fun.
Shout out little senior bowl action, Dylan Gabriel. Fastest ball ever recorded at the senior what was it, the practice that they were doing, or
Yeah, I think it was a practice, yeah. Saw that.
Yeah, he beat Joe Milton and Josh Allen for the fastest ball thrown. So shout out D Gabes, man. Most disappointing, kind of continuing, piggybacking off that rookie quarterback conversation, because the most disappointing was two very aging quarterbacks that had a lot of promise coming into the season, a lot of high expectations, and they failed miserably, being Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers for their respective organizations. Kirk Cousins coming in, that huge contract, coming off one of the best years he's had before going down with that Achilles injury in Minnesota. He gets the big deal in Atlanta. He's shocked when they draft Michael Penix in the first round. And then Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, this Jets team, they got the defense, they got the weapons. Aaron Rodgers, MVP Rodgers, coming back off that Achilles. Obviously week one, what was it, first drive, second play of the game when he tore his. And everyone kind of clowned him. The biggest highlight of Aaron Rodgers' Jets career is him running out with that American flag week one in prime time. So you look at those two guys, Kirk Cousins getting benched, Aaron Rodgers checking himself out of games, and the Jets being questioned as one of the most dysfunctional organizations, if not the most dysfunctional organization, not just in the NFL, but across the board in all major American sports. So it's pretty shocking to say that they got coverage like that, being that I am a Browns fan. I just talked about how disappointing and how bad the Browns are, but the Jets seem to get the full-on, most dysfunctional organization in the NFL this year, with all the reports coming from the top of the organization down to the bottom. And it's pretty shocking knowing that I'm a Browns fan and I know how bad and dysfunctional they are. So I think that's the most disappointing, because the Jets were on some people's, Super Bowl odds this year, and they ended up at the very bottom. So
Yeah, I think I had the Jets of like 8 or 9 wins. Let me go back and look right now. Oh, wow, I'm selling myself short there. 10 wins for the Jets is what I had. So, yeah, throw that on the coldest take as well.
10 wins, man.
Wow.
I think you had a QB pair. Maybe that was old, but yeah. Yep, pretty much. It's gonna wrap up our. Well, I also want to say, Jimmy to the Sixers now, is that's what's going on.
I saw last I saw was the Warriors, but Sixers are definitely a team that can
King
go.
shopping D Fox. They want him out.
He's saying he wants to go play with Wemby, man, down there in San Antonio.
They already got Chris Paul. I mean, he should just come to the Heat.
Chris Paul's like 40, not really gonna do much, but I think you add Fox into that mix. Wemby and Fox for the next couple of years, I think that's gonna be a real matchup right there.
I like the way the Heat play. I only watched the 2 overtimes they played last night, and if that's the Heat team I'm gonna get for the rest of the season, they were playing inspired basketball. Almost like the players had the chip on their shoulder. I was kind of rocking with it. I know they played the Magic, but
Well, the Magic are a good team.
they're a solid team for sure. But
I think a lot of the young guys in the Heat are stepping up. You look at Khalil Ware, and then your boy, man, baby Jokic.
Yep, Jovic.
Jovic has been playing really good as well, so he'll be okay. They got some pieces. They'll be competitive.
I saw one very bad. Bam was out there hooping after. I saw a Heat post. They were making fun of him because Asia Wilson and Jamar Chase were at some fashion show, and Bam went ahead and put up 30-point double-double last night. Ware put up a double-double. Only thing I had a problem with is Tyler Hero threw up one of the worst shots, and he tried to get it 2 for 1, but he waited like 3 seconds too long to put it up. basically gave the Magic a 2-for-1 in that situation. But
That's the one thing I will say. Now that Jimmy's checked out and that, he was kind of the alpha dog of this team, there's really no one there to kind of,
no, take the
check
ball.
Tyler Hero and like put him in his place. He's just going to be able to shoot whatever he wants. So I think he's going to hit some big shots, but you're going to have to live with some of those. It just is what it is. Like, come on. Bam is not going to take the ball out of Tyler Hero's hands. Like, it's just not happening.
I agree.
Duncan Robinson. Like,
that's
come on,
what
man.
we thought Terry Rozier was going to be, but he's on one of the worst
Yeah.
stretches. Used to love him. But, whatever. We'll see with the Heat.
Yeah, we'll get more into the basketball and stuff next couple weeks, especially with football winding down, basketball picking up, trade deadline. I believe it is next week. Or no, is it? Yeah, it is next week. It's the Thursday before
February.
the Super Bowl. Yeah, which once again the NBA just can't get their schedule right, man. Still competing with the NFL even when they're not trying to.
Goal2Go, episode 123. Goal2Go pod on TikTok, Goal2Go, everything else streaming wise. Until next week, we'll be back with some Super Bowl coverage, man. Peace.